Welcome to Victory Garden Live. I am Melissa Bauco. We are here today at my good friend Judy Janowski's house, and we've shown her garden before. She has amazing, amazing gardens, but you know, every year things are a little bit different, right? So we're going to see, based on this year's sort of, when we've had sunshine, when we've had rain, how much rain and heat and humidity we've had. It looks very different from last time. So we're going to see some different plants. We're also here a little later in the season, I think. So we'll talk about that too. We're going to see some plants that the flowers are a little bit past their time, but then we'll see what happens when they go to seed. So I'm going to turn this around. Okay, and here we are. And again, this is, Facebook's new thing about wanting it in portrait mode. So new gimbal, new style of video taking, but you know what? Bear with me. There's still lots of beautiful things to see, so we will make sure we check everything out. So we're going to start off here with the butterfly bush. And this has had a lot of bumblebees on it this morning. So I have not seen any butterflies on it yet today, but lots of bumblebees, and obviously, we need all kinds of bees and flies and beetles and things to pollinate in our gardens. And butterfly bush attracts a lot of pollinators, and it's generally easy to grow, and it smells amazing. I know you can't smell these flowers right now, but these smell amazing. And there's some really dark ones over here too. So really gorgeous. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today is how plants spread. So you can see this one's pretty tall now. But we have a smaller one here. And where I was standing before, another one over there. Oh, and then this, I love how Judy set this up. That is really pretty. See, and you can use anything like that in your garden, right? Here's a little wheelbarrow, but it has all these beautiful plants in it. That just looks gorgeous. There's some petunia, there's some amaranth in there. Really, really pretty. There's some hosta. I love hosta because they are so easy. They are so simple to take care of. They always say it's a shade plant, but I have some areas where it's kind of semi-shade and they do just fine. And those will come back for you every year. And they're very easy to separate too. When they first come up, this will all die back at the end of the season. And then when they first come up, there's just little tiny pieces. And if you want, you can just take a shovel, dig up those little tiny pieces and separate them. Chipmunks do love them. So that's one thing too, is sometimes that happens not on purpose in my garden. When the chipmunks get in there, they eat some of them, but it's okay because again, you can dig those out. If there's kind of bare spots, you just put them together and make your hosta a different shape. Okay, we're going to come around here a little bit. These are actually a kind of sunflower. But it's a perennial type of sunflower. Here are the hens and chicks. Again, this is another nice plant that's generally easy to grow and will spread. Sometimes I find they don't do really well in pots in the house because they don't like to stay wet. So it's kind of nicer when they're outside, that way they can dry out a little bit. And one of the things we're going to look at over here are the sweet pea vines. So you can see here's a flower that's getting ready to bloom. Most of these are kind of past their blooming time. So you can see there are some flowers on here. It's really pretty little delicate flowers. They make this big spreading vine. See, so when this is all blooming, it's all going to have those flowers like that. You can see they're really pretty. But then what happens is it'll make these pods. See, so it makes these seed pods. It kind of looks like beans, but these are the seed pods, and then they get yellow. So you can see here are some that are just at the yellow stage. And then when they turn brown like this, that's when you can actually take them off the plant and collect them and save the seeds. And what they will do on their own actually is pop open. See how these look? They've popped open already, and all the seeds have just kind of come out and landed on the ground, and that's how this will spread. And it's pretty funny, while we were walking around and looking at all the plants a little while ago, this one up here on top just popped on its own. We were standing here and you could literally hear a big pop noise, and this one just popped open and there went the seeds. So this is one of the many ways plants like to spread. So here we are in the shady part of the garden. We have some ferns and some hostas in here. And it is very hot today, so I would like to just stay right back here in this nice cool corner of the garden. It's really nice. And you know, it's interesting because one of the things that seems to be happening this year, Judy noticed, is right now everything seems to be purple and gold and purple and yellow. All the purple and yellow flowers are coming out. We have, here's a hibiscus. I love the hibiscus flowers, so tropical looking. And here we have Rudbeckia. Now Judy says that this kind is called trilobe Rudbeckia because if you look here, these leaves are just normal leaves, right? Normal shape. I shouldn't say normal, but you know, just a plain leaf, right? But then when you look down a little further, it has leaves that are more like this. This is why it's called a trilobe Rudbeckia. The lower down leaves have these three parts to them. And here are more of the ones that are in the sunflower family. The bee is enjoying this. And those really beautiful yellow ones back there were gifts from a friend, and they've spread a little bit. That is a kind of coreopsis. And these, Judy says these are brown-eyed Susans over here. And I'm going to step out and try to pan up a little bit so we can see this really beautiful arbor. This is wisteria, so it already had a big bloom of flowers. Then all the leaves really came out very full. And Judy said it will actually come back and make more little flowers here and there. But the wisteria is really great for putting on a trellis like that. You know, so then you will have a beautiful shady spot to sit in under that trellis. And then look at the cool vines too. So you get really intriguing shapes from the trunk like that. We're going to actually walk around this way so we can talk a little bit about foliage. Of course, we have some milkweed. So we talked about this the last time we were at Judy's house as well. As you can see all these nice colors down here. So that even though this is a shady spot, we're getting some really cool coloring in the foliage. Sure, the gimbal's having a little mind of its own here. Wants to look at something else. Here, these are actually strawberries. So the strawberries are a little past their season. I can see a few flowers there. But over here you can see these different kinds of grasses. So when you look at this, I mean, it's nice to incorporate things like this in your garden, because then after the flowers are gone, you're still going to have all these interesting things to look at. So remember about, thinking to layer in what is a plant going to actually look like when it's not blooming, and layering in different things like that will make it interesting. Now this one, these flowers look like the hibiscus flowers, but this is a Rose of Sharon. And you can kind of tell the difference just because these generally grow a little bit more like a small tree. So over here is Judy's compost. And the thing we want to talk about back here, and you can see the compost bins are getting pretty full. It's that time of the season. But we have lots of sunflowers. So you'll see actually lots of sunflowers over here as we're walking around. So it was a great year for sunflowers. Everybody that I know that has sunflowers, it's been an amazing year for sunflowers. Judy says she has had an amazing time in her gardens this year with the datura. So the datura is also called the moonflower. They make these big, beautiful flowers. And I thought that they opened at night and then only stayed open at nighttime. But no, what will happen is they start off kind of all furled up like this. And this one is probably just about ready to bloom. Over here, what will happen is they will open up at dusk, but then they'll actually stay open and last about a day. So it's nice because, even if you're sleeping and you miss it, right, you're still going to have a day at least to see all these beautiful flowers. And all these just bloomed on their own as volunteers from the compost, along with the sunflowers over here. This is amaranth. Judy actually harvests that and gives it to one of her friends to feed the chickens. These are pink raspberries. They're a gift from Ruby. We showed Ruby's garden on one video, and one of these days we're going to go back so that we can get the part that we couldn't get because of the connectivity issues. So we will go back and see a little bit more of the vegetables in the backyard. We have the pink raspberries there. Those are really doing well. And we have some echinacea there. And this is just gorgeous. These are the zinnias. If you really want a bold pop of color in your garden, you can't beat putting zinnias in. So pretty, and just these colors are amazing. And these are the cosmos. So that's kind of also bringing in some of those same colors, but then it's giving us the height. And here are more of the datura. And again, these all ended up being volunteers. All these ones that sprang up outside the vegetable garden here. But so big. You can kind of get an idea of how big these flowers are. And here's a spaghetti squash. We've got one spaghetti squash in there. So what Judy has found in her vegetable garden this year is that the squash have not been really producing very much, but the tomatoes are doing really well and the cabbage are doing really well. So what the datura will do, here are more of them on this side. You can see, you can get down here. In a similar way to what the other plant did, they make these seed pods, just like the sweet peas. And if we can get down in there, here we go. There's one hanging up a little bit higher. Maybe we can see a little better. Oh yeah, here we go. We'll see these better. They make these seed pods, which are really cool looking. And then these seed pods will dry up and, again, the seeds are just going to pop out and spread. If you don't want them to spread in that spot, you can always just harvest those seed pods and then put them wherever you'd like them, share them with friends. And you'll have lots more plants. So we're just going to take a quick walk around the vegetable garden. Again, we've got lots of huge, beautiful sunflowers here. And I've noticed the dill is also doing really well this year. Everywhere I walk around the garden, the dill smells amazing. This is almost like a sunflower maze right here, which those are starting, by the way. You've probably seen some online. Places are starting to advertise them. So we may try to check out one of those again this year. I saw Wickham Farms is having one. And these beautiful flowers over here are zinnia. Oh, I'm sorry, these are the dahlia. The other ones were the zinnia. These are the dahlias. So generally you need to dig up the dahlia tubers in the fall and overwinter them inside and then plant them again in the spring. Okay, here's some of the amaranth. And that adds beautiful color in the garden. These are lamb's ears. And I don't usually see the lamb's ears blooming. So it's kind of nice to see the blooming part on the lamb's ears. And this is the borage. Judy is still growing a lot of borage. And those dahlias are just gorgeous. They're always very striking in the garden. Oh, and these are absolutely beautiful. These are the nasturtium. So pretty. Just this color is amazing. And I love this combo with the borage of the orange and the light blue. So pretty. But the nasturtiums are edible. So that is a way to make a salad really pretty. You can have a salad and then you can put the edible nasturtium flowers in it. So you can see in here we have amaranth. We have, oh, just beautiful, the amaranth right now. So there are brandywine tomatoes in there. Lots of brandywine. They're starting to ripen now. Hopefully you can see them. I'm not tall enough to see the phone right now. Hopefully it's looking at what we'd like it to look at. We've got some brandywine tomatoes in there, and there are lots and lots of cherry tomatoes that are ripening. And we're going to go ahead, keep this aimed low for a minute here, so we can come in here and take a look at the potatoes. So check this out. Potatoes are awesome. Judy says if you have little kids, you can tell them it's like an Easter egg hunt. You want to wait until these vines are really dead looking like this. So here's the potato plant. Not looking so great anymore. You know, this is the sign, though, that the potatoes are ready to pull. So you can pull it out and look at those tomatoes. That's amazing. These are some beautiful Yukon Gold. And again, here are these brandywine tomatoes right here. And there we are. So I'm going to turn this back around for a second. And that's about it. It is, again, very, very hot today. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. But this is just a little snapshot. And remember, that is one thing that's really cool with gardens, is every year is different. So if you plant something and it's not doing well, don't give up. It's probably just not the best year for that plant. Try something else. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you will join me next week.